Hi guys, welcome back. Kason's right next to me. Hi. It's been too long. You spending the day with us. Actually, I'm gonna start getting ready because we got things to do today, baby. We got things to do today. So I'm gonna do a quick little get ready with me. We're gonna chit chat. We're gonna spend the day. It's been way too long since I vlogged, and honestly, I miss it. I really do. Let me get my mirror. Kason's right next to me throwing things, so if you hear chaos in the background, it's Mr. K, babe. I guess we need to talk about some updates. It's been a minute since, you know, I sat down and talked here on YouTube, but if you follow us on our socials, then you know that Owen had a major health scare, and he was in the hospital for a week and 1 day. And I'm just gonna give an update here, so I'll give you guys the full story. So on 3 weeks ago, yeah, it was about 3 weeks ago, Owen started limping. Started off with like a limp, and it was a light limp. I didn't think anything of it because I knew his cousin was here, and sometimes, you know, they play rough, and I'm like, okay, maybe, you know, maybe he just, you know, hurt himself a little bit. But I was like, on Monday, I'll let him stay home from school so that he could like recover from whatever it was that he was feeling. So then come Tuesday, the limp has gotten worse. So I called up his dad and I asked him if he could take him to the emergency room close to my house. And he was like, yeah, sure. So he took him, they did an x-ray, they sent him home, they put him on Tylenol. They said that it could be a hip fracture or something like that. And then I was like, okay, whatever. You know, you just assume that, you know, what they're saying is true because it's the doctor, right? It's a hospital. So that was Tuesday. Then Wednesday, the limp was still there, and it was, to me, it was getting worse. Like, I was just like, I don't know, something's not right. But I'm like, but the doctors are saying nothing's wrong, so I don't know. Then come Thursday, the limp is significantly worse. Like, at this point, he can't even walk, and he's dragging his leg. Like, he's like holding on to the walls. Like, he literally cannot walk without support. Like, I had to like hold him up to walk, and I was like, okay, no, something is obviously wrong. So I was like just casually talking to my coworkers, and they were asking me how was my weekend and stuff, and I was like venting about Owen. I was like, I don't know, I'm really worried because I don't know what's wrong with him. So then luckily I spoke up because she was like, girl, you could bring him here to like my job or whatever. I was like, oh, I just didn't think that I could because of like health insurance reasons. Like, I work at a private hospital, and insurance reasons, I just thought he wouldn't be able to be seen at my job or whatever. And then just from talking to her, she made some calls, like literally in a matter of like 30 minutes. They advised me on what to do, and I did exactly what they said, and that was the best decision that I ever made because Owen was in the best of care. So we went to the hospital literally across the street from my job, which is an amazing hospital. It's New York Presbyterian, and they took such good care of him. So whatever. Okay, so that was Thursday when I was at work. And then so I called his dad up again, and I'm like, hey, I'm at work, but when you get off of work, could you bring Owen over here to my job? He was in the emergency room for a few hours. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna check on the kids, Kason and Gracie, and then I'll head back to the hospital to like bring him home or whatever. Because I literally, Kason was into everything, I literally didn't think anything was gonna come from it. I'm like, okay, I'm sure they're gonna find something, but it's not gonna be that big of a deal. It's gonna be fine. So I was home or whatever, and then his dad texts me. He goes, they did an ultrasound and they found a blood clot. Oh my god. Once he said blood clot, like I literally I broke down crying. And then I feel bad because literally Gracie was sitting right next to me. She's like, Mom, what's wrong? What's wrong? Tell me what's happening. Tell me what's happening. And I felt so bad. I'm like, oh my god, I gotta get it together because I'm making her freak out or whatever. But when you hear blood clot, like, you know, your mind just goes to the worst place ever. So she knew what was going on. Like, she knew Owen was in the hospital, and then she got really scared, and I was like, Gracie, I'm gonna have to go. Like, I tried to explain to her as much as I can. I like to be open with my kids, and I like to tell them exactly what's going on. And that's exactly what I did with Gracie. I was like, everything's gonna be okay, you know, we just gotta pray. I was like, but I'm gonna go. And she was really like, it was really hard to see Gracie like that. She was really worried about Owen. So I went to the hospital, and then, you know, he was admitted, obviously, and, you know, that's when a whole bunch of questions start to arise, like a blood clot, how, why, where, when, like, what the heck. So immediately they didn't have many answers, and, you know, once you hear blood clot, you think, you know, surgery is surgery needed, right? And then also immediately he gets put on blood thinners because they need to try to dissolve the clot. So when they did the ultrasound, it was by his groin, like on his hip, and it went up to like his belly. So it was a pretty big clot. And they've never seen anything like this in a child, which when you hear that from a doctor is also kind of scary, because it's just like, do y'all know what to do? Are we gonna figure this out? So, you know, at that point, we don't really know anything, and it was just a lot of waiting in the beginning, waiting and stressing, and like, you know, lots of a really long story, kind of shorter. So this surgery, in order to remove a blood clot, like depending on the artery, is like to put a stent into the artery to make the blood flow properly. But Owen is a kid, and they've never done that in a child, and they weren't equipped to do that type of surgery on Owen. So they were just trying to figure out what was the best way to tackle this. So that was where a lot of the waiting was, because they just weren't sure. And they also, you see, when somebody has a blood clot, immediately they do an MRI. Owen cannot get MRIs because he has cochlear implants. And when you have cochlear implants, you just, because of the metal and the pieces that are implanted into his skull, you just can't get an MRI. They were waiting on a CAT scan, because a CAT scan could give them a better understanding as to what's going on. But that didn't happen till like almost 6 days after we were there. During the time that we were there, they were just like assessing his blood levels, checking how the blood thinner is working, and then deciding whether or not surgery was going to be needed. That was the main question, like, is he going to need surgery? But then once they started talking to his father and they started asking questions, you know, his father had a very scary situation happen to him 7 years ago. 7 years ago, and he had a blood clot in the exact same place that Owen had one, and but his artery collapsed, and he like passed out, and he needed emergency surgery. But he's an adult, so he was able to get the stent put in, and you know, it was treated, you know, the way that blood clot should be treated. So his father was diagnosed with May-Thurner's disorder, which is a vein disorder. Basically, the best way that I could explain May-Thurner's is that like your artery and your vein, like a normal one would go like, you know, they don't collide with each other, and then they allow the blood flow to flow properly. But May-Thurner's, they like intertwine, or like they twist or whatever, which causes the blood clots because the blood is not flowing properly. I probably butchered that explanation, but that's my understanding of it. And when I see the picture, I'm like, it makes sense to me. Like if you look up May-Thurner's versus a regular person, you get it. His dad was diagnosed with May-Thurner, so we're able to look at that, compare it to Owen's. Like they're trying to piece this puzzle together. So they was like, okay, yes, he needs a CAT scan. We need to figure out if he does have May-Thurner's, because that would help with his diagnosis and recovery and like, you know, treatment or whatever. So basically we were just waiting on this freaking CAT scan, because the CAT scan was going to give us the information that we needed. So finally the CAT scan happens, and then they look at it and they were like, okay, not only is the clot worse than they thought, but you know, he does have May-Thurner's, and they see that he had a lot of scar tissue, and the scar tissue most likely happened when he was born, because Owen was in the NICU for 2 weeks when he was born, and he did have a traumatic birth experience, and he did have tubes in place. So what they're thinking is when the tubes were put in, you know, and they were there for 2 weeks, when they came out, you know, scar tissue formed around the arteries and the veins. Not only did he have a lot of scar tissue, but he did have May-Thurner's. He does have what his father has. So that's just a genetic disorder that he inherited from his father. So when Owen is when Owen is older, he is going to need that surgery. He's gonna need surgery when he's older. So then once they did the CAT scan and they saw that it was a lot worse than they expected, they did agree that he was gonna need surgery because they wanted to try to suck out as much of the clot as they could, and then also put a balloon in his arteries to because it was too narrow. That was what they wanted to do. They weren't gonna put a stent, but they wanted to suck out as much as they could, and then also expand the artery so that, you know, he could be a little bit more comfortable and have a better blood flow. He had surgery. The surgery went really well, and they were able to get out a lot. They were not able to get out all of it. They said that there still was a lot more left, and they got what they could, but his artery, there was just too much scar tissue, and they didn't want to like rupture or be too invasive. And they realized also that there was a lot of old blood clots. They can't say really how long, but when they showed us the picture of what they took out, you could tell what was old and what was new. It was really scary to see, like, all of that was just in him. And, you know, by the grace of God, luckily nothing bad. You know, it just, we recognized it by a limp, and it wasn't anything like, you know, like his dad that he like passed out or anything. So thank God. But so now Owen is on blood thinners. Like, we don't know, there's no end to that right now. He does have some appointments. One of them I'm going to today with him, and then that's why I'm getting ready. Then tomorrow he has more appointments with the follow-up with the surgeon and his blood doctor, which he's gonna have to do quite often because they need to monitor his blood levels all the time. They need to make sure that the Lovenox, the blood thinner, is not too high, not too low. And then every so often he is gonna need to get an ultrasound so they could double check that nothing's like, you know, getting bigger, or, you know, monitor everything. So that's basically the update with Owen. I probably skipped a little bit here and there, but if you have any questions, let me know. Getting ready with Casey next to me is just So we're getting ready. I'm gonna take Owen to his doctor's appointment, and then I'm gonna take you along with us for the day because it's been way too long. Way too long. And I'll just place him right next to me. My cousin's probably gonna be in the background. Hey, buddy. Oh. Oh. Oh, wow. Owen, during the whole time, he is like such a trooper. Like, he's such a strong little kid. Like, the whole time he was barely asking questions. He was like super chill. He did get sad at some points, but he was also very happy. It's kind of sad though when I think about it, but he was kind of happy to like see his father and I in the same room, like, you know, for him. And you know, I was happy that we were able to just be there for our son, and like, it's very good co-parenting, positive experience, which is something that I've always wanted. I gotta wait for this to dry and then I'm gonna take it off. But let's put on a lip color. So yeah, just a good, it was nice to have, and then my whole family, like my cousin Nikki was with the kids like 100% of the time. You know, just knowing that my kids were happy and well taken care of, even though I had super mom guilt, you know, just like, I wish I could just split myself into 3 pieces and be there for all of them. I'm ready. We're gonna spend the day together. That's it. That was the update. Everything's good. Positive vibes, positive energy. Kason is curling his lashes. Oh man! He wants my blush. All right. Let's spend the day together. Say mwah. Oh. Do you ever give you a hug? Do you ever give you a hug? All right, let's go. Come on, Owen. Okay. Put your jacket on. Bye. Ooh, a model in the making. Hey. Look at how cute you are. I thought I was recording and I wasn't. We're on our way to his doctor's appointment and it's freezing out here. But Owen, do you know what we're doing today? What? We're gonna see the RPX. We're gonna see Avatar and RPX.
Avatar with water.
Yeah. So you remember what I told you what RPX is?
It's like a steep movie.
Yeah.
And then when the character moves, like his mouth is like that.
Yeah.
And then you can like feel the air.
Exactly. So we're going to his doctor's appointment, and then the movie's not until a little later. So we're gonna go back home and then head to the movies. It's a mommy and Sunday.
I want walk there.
We're almost there. Oh my god, my arm is getting tired.
If you could check the thing in my ear, anything like that?
And what does that check?
Huh?
What does that check? Your blood pressure.
Oh.
How you feel? You're tall. He's almost 5 feet tall. He's almost 5 feet tall. He gets so excited. The doctor's like, you're going to 6th grade. He gets so excited. Such in a rush to grow up. So the appointment went well. We had to update his pediatrician on everything that happened. And he's all up to date on his stuff. So now we're gonna head back home to kill time before it's time to go to the movies. You playing? What are you playing? I'm taking a video.
Oh.
Where are we going?
To the movie theater.
Are
we going to the movie theater to see Avatar away from the water, but like the weird I don't know what I was saying. RPX.
Avatar Way of Water. It's 3 hours and 10 minutes long. I love this Revlon lipstick. Right below here. We are super early.
Wait, no, it's recording?
Yeah, it is. We're super early. We're the only ones in the movie theater.
And the movie theater starts at 12:50 and now it's 12:34.
Yeah, we're just having some snacks.
I'm thinking for hot dog.
Okay. You gonna eat popcorn?
Yep.
So we're just enjoying our snacks. And I told him that we should eat before the movie starts because like the seats move and stuff.
And it splashes water.
And it splashes water. You could put
like
water
off, on.
Water on, water off. But well.